Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Toronto. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth. I've got Randy Buehler with me and we're ready for the finals. It's Lucas Siow versus Edgar Magalhaes and they are underway here. This is Obzon Midrange versus Mardu Dragons, a relative newcomer to the standard scene. What do you make of this Mardu deck, Randy?
Looks sweet.
It
That's
does
what
look
I
sweet.
make of it.
It does look sweet.
The story here is kind of interesting. It's a Ben Stark list. Hall of Famer Ben Stark, who was playing for top 8 with 2 rounds to go, did not ultimately make the top 8, finished X3, picked up 3 pro points. He's been working on this list. It's his design. He's been playing the heck out of it on Magic Online and one of his regular playtest partners on Magic Online, a guy named Daniel Ward. Grand Prix Vancouver top 8. He's just a guy who's been around grinding a lot of Magic. Goes out for a drink with Edgar on Thursday night, and Edgar's like, man, it seems like Crackling Doom should be really good. Daniel Ward's like, I've got the awesomest Crackling Doom list. Check this out. Edgar spends all day Friday borrowing all the cards and shows up running Ben Stark's Mardu Dragons list that he basically got from a mutual friend on Thursday night.
Very cool, and he actually makes it all the way to the top 8 here. Now he's facing down Lucas Siow. We thought earlier that Lucas had won a GP. It turns out he hasn't. And the reason why we thought that is because he's found himself in the finals not once, but twice before this, and in fact has a 4th place finish as well.
Second, 4th.
Right, so it turns out that Lucas is really looking to try to push through. Apparently, a bunch of his friends have won GPs and tease him relentlessly that he's the one who keeps getting second. And he's really gonna try to finish up this time. But Edgar is gonna make it difficult for him. One of the cards that we've been talking about that hasn't showed up in great numbers this weekend was Stormbreath Dragon.
Absolutely.
But Edgar's got him.
Yes, no, all the Obzon decks have gone to max Obzon charms. They can kill everything else, they can't kill a Stormbreath Dragon. So people have been cheating on Hero's downfalls. Lucas does have 3 downfalls, but the thing is, the Stormbreath Dragons, those decks tend to have a couple copies of Haven of the Spirit Dragon floating around too. So they really play more like they have 5 or 6 Stormbreaths. That said, Siege Rhino is still a pretty good Magic card. Edgar hasn't cast a spell yet.
Yeah, Edgar really has a slow start. 3 tap lands in a row and just not able to add to the board. And Lucas is just taking the aggressive route with a turn 3 Morph and a turn 4 Siege Rhino. Somehow that's going to be the beatdown plan. Not your normal curve, but here we are.
A lot of Edgar's removal kicks in on turn 3. Well, that is, kicks in at 3 mana. Edgar, unfortunately, was tap land, so has not yet been able to deploy a Foul Tongue Invocation or a Crackling Doom. 4th tap land. Pushes. I've seen at least Foul Tongue. Yeah, he's got both Foul Tongue and Crackling Doom in his hand. But yeah, not having any land that came into play untapped has really hurt this draw.
Crackling Doom, of course, one of the main reasons to play Mardu these days.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's
bunch
great
of hexproof dragons running around.
Yeah, it's
Take
great
that.
against that, and you just take care of Dragonlord Ojutais all over the place. In this case, it took care of a Siege Rhino.
Yeah, Lucas chose to sack. Oh, he has to sack the Siege Rhino. I was thinking about Foul Tongue.
That's right. And here is a follow-up Siege Rhino, though. Lucas just has one of those draws that's allowing him to present a few threats in a row, and he's happy to do it. He normally plays this deck at a little bit slower of a pace where he's kind of grinding out value and such, but not this time. Yeah,
we're calling this Obzon Midrange, but Lucas actually calls it Obzon Control. This is about as slow as anybody runs. He's like a 6 or a 7 on the scale.
He's an Elspeth on the scale.
Yeah, on the scale from Warden of the First Tree up to Ugin. He comes in around somewhere around Elspeth.
Yeah.
All right, Draconic Roar.
Revealing Stormbreath.
Does he have a land that comes into play untapped yet?
That's what he needs here.
Because he's got the Foul Tongue Invocation.
Yes, he has a Bloodstained Mire.
Bloodstained Mire is pretty good here. He's also got Haven.
You'd think he'd want to get this thing done right now.
Gain 4 life and finish off your board.
Yeah, he's got to do it. He's thinking for a long time. He must have another option available to him, but...
He might be deciding which land he wants.
Oh, fair enough.
Goes for the fetch land, not the Haven, so he does lose the life, but he thins a little bit. You have to wind up thinking about the small things. It's like, all right, I know I'm going to Foul Tongue away this Siege Rhino and gain my 4 life, but what about these little tiny micro decisions I want to optimize?
Yeah, now that was a huge swing for Edgar.
Yeah, great turn.
He took out a Den Protector without letting Lucas get value.
True.
And then he killed a huge threat and also said, by the way, Stormbreath's incoming. So
And gain 4 life. And you take
gain
3.
4 in life, exactly. So really, really nice there for Edgar. And let's see if he can turn the corner now and start slamming Stormbreath Dragons. Even has a backup plan with that Haven. And there it is, Stormbreath Dragon.
Plan. Wow, I think he's got Murderous Cut up too.
He has the mana for it if he's got it in his hand.
And
Lucas has his,
yeah, his hand is both
well.
Murderous Cut and Crackling Doom.
You know,
this deck's great, right?
Yeah, this deck is sweet.
Elspeth for Lucas Siow. That can kill a Stormbreath Dragon.
But it'll come right back.
Yes. Edgar thinks, and yes, he is going to Murderous Cut the Courser.
Now there's a Hero's Downfall on top of Siow's library here. And unfortunately,
Caligon came off the top too.
For Edgar, he doesn't have enough mana. Well, I guess he's just got another Stormbreath. That's fine.
No problem.
I was going to say he doesn't have enough mana to use the Haven.
Well, he could have dashed out Coligon.
He has Coligon in hand as well?
He just drew it.
Okay.
Scribe to the top for Lucas.
Yeah, it does look like Edgar's turned the tides here. Now, Lucas is going to be able to deal with one of these Stormbreaths, but Coligon plus another Stormbreath coming down the line can really do it. And there's
it's 12 damage.
Yeah, this is a sweet deck.
2 dragons attacking, both triggering that all your creatures get +1/+0.
Yes. And I don't think that Lucas is going to... Well, I was wrong. He did let him attack.
Weird.
Oh.
Yeah, why would he let him
must
attack?
have another answer because he's taking an extra 2 points.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oops.
this is Lucas realizing
he
didn't know how that works, so he's going to take an extra point of damage as a result of that. And pass the turn back, but you got to realize that Lucas can run out of answers here, and sorcery speed answers need not apply. You'll be happy to see that he found a target though for that Obzon charm.
Yeah, little does he know. There's both a Crucible to go get Stormbreath, and there's another Coligon, which, yeah. Edgar's going to keep going the Coligon dash plan. Crunch, take it.
Yes, over and over and over. And Lucas Siow, this game has completely degenerated into... Do you have an answer for this?
Police Mane, which can go monstrous, but Edgar has Draconic Roar mana. So they get to do a little dance here. Lucas is looking over at him.
All right.
You know,
I don't think Edgar...
upkeep. He's going to monstrous upkeep. But
and he has the Draconic Roar, revealing Coligon, and Coligon on the dash will kill him. And Edgar Magalhaes is now up 1 game over Lucas Siow, hoping to give Lucas his 3rd second place finish.
Yes.
In as many tries at the finals of a GP here. And
now, Edgar's also been to a Grand Prix top 8 before. He was actually at the top 8 of Grand Prix Toronto in 2013.
The one that Ari won?
Absolutely.
Ah.
Now, we do know that the trophy's not leaving Canada. In fact, the trophy's not really leaving Toronto. Edgar is from Toronto. Lucas is from Toronto. Edgar does go to school in Waterloo right now, so I think technically it gets a little bit outside of town if Edgar manages to win one of the next 2 games. It's funny, for a while, this top 8 was actually brought to you by the Toronto Death Mist Raptors. But fittingly, somehow, the Raptors all lost in the playoffs, and there aren't any of them left.
We're going to have to smuggle you out of the country. They're going to have your picture at customs, like, oh, that guy? Yeah, no. We need to do a search, sir.
Come on, it's perfect.
You're not in a hurry, are you?
It would have been more perfect if they all lost in the first round. You're right. I apologize.
Oh, my God. You just can't help yourself sometimes.
Sometimes.
Thankfully, most of our viewers probably don't follow basketball as closely as we do. So.
There's Edgar Magalhaes, 20 years old, student from Waterloo, Ontario, in his 2nd Grand Prix top 8, giving Daniel Ward props for the Mardu Dragons deck. Says he would actually take out a Seeker of the Way in favor of an additional Soulfire Grandmaster. That Grandmaster just overperformed all weekend long. And that the most important card in the deck, Crackling Doom.
Crackling Doom. I think that is the reason why you look to Mardu these days.
Among the reasons, for sure.
Yeah.
Lucas Siow, 29. He's a bank analyst here in Toronto in his 4th Grand Prix top 8 and his 3rd trip to the finals, but hasn't yet got the win that he wants. Says, he chose to play Abzan Control, in his words, because it's good to even against Red Deck Wins and Abzan and Bant and Esper. Wouldn't change anything. Well, doesn't think he would change anything, but maybe you could ask Daniel Fournier.
He's the one that put together the list for him or helped him out?
Yeah, and they're very tight. And Fournier also made this top 8, or even eliminated, but yeah. Elspeth is the most important card in this deck, according to Lucas. Which makes sense. I mean, we talk about how a lot of people left themselves vulnerable to Stormbreath Dragon this weekend. You know what else a lot of people left themselves vulnerable to is Elspeth.
Yeah, absolutely.
We saw so many games where it's just, oh, Elspeth.
Right.
I just concede to Elspeth.
Right, all of the Death Mist Raptors and random, Fleece Mane Lions just bounce off of tokens while Elspeth ticks up, and we know how that thing ends. So I thought that was really interesting, too.
Brad Nelson giving the stink eye to BBD. Where are my Glare of Heresies? Why aren't there any Glare of Heresies on my sideboard? I don't think Brad's actually complaining about the semi-final exit of the tournament. He didn't do a ton of prep work.
When your friend says, here's the deck I made for the GP, and you make the semifinals, you say, thank you, friend.
Absolutely. And I mean, that pile of pro points, too. I mean, Brad Nelson is now, he's gone from on the bubble for the World Championships to likely to play the World Championships. Hasn't locked it up, but both he and Paul Reitzel took themselves a couple of points above the bubble.
Yeah, we had a bunch of people. We are in that mid to late stage of the season here. A few
People
GPs and a PT.
Points.
They're chasing it. I saw that Chris Fennell did. I interviewed him earlier today for people that were watching. He did meet his goal. He's gold.
Oh, good for him.
Chris Fennell made gold today by finishing X and 3. That was really the thing that he was most focused on down the stretch here was getting to gold.
Where did Ari Lox finish up? Do we know that?
Don't know. I saw him for a minute, and I just looked at him, and he just shook his head. So I don't know if
he was X2 with like 3 rounds left. I know that he obviously he didn't make top 8, but if he got X3, then he picks up a couple of pretty important points for. I mean, he's right in the thick of the Player of the Year race and trying to be the U.S. team captain at the World Magic Cup.
All predicated off of his Pro Tour victory.
Yeah, I mean, he's also got a GP top 8. But yeah, does not hurt when. I'm looking at a chart right now. Best Pro Tour finish is one of the tiebreaker categories. Yeah, having a 1 there is pretty good. Ari's GPs are 4, 3, 3, 3, 1, 1. So, X3 would get him, turn one of those 1s into a 3. 2 points would tie him with Li Shijian. It doesn't sound like, if you saw him and he shook his head, it probably means he's X4.
Yeah.
I don't know, we probably have the ability to look up the final standings. Everyone out there's probably already looked up the final standings, and we're just busy talking. Don't think the sideboards change a ton here. I mean, he's got a Thoughtseize to get up to 4. He's got a couple Read the Bones. I don't know. He's got a couple Outpost Siege. So, I mean, he's got the ability to become a sort of grindier deck if that's the way he wants to play this out.
Yeah, Lucas gets to bring in some more choice removal spells. He gets another copy of Murderous Cut and a copy of Silence the Believers, which can really go a long way against these dragons that he can have some serious trouble with. 2 instant speed removal spells that can kill either Kolagon or Stormbreath is going to really help him out there, even though it is only 1 copy of each, so it's not a huge deal.
He gets a Kolagon in Edgar's sideboard.
Who?
Dragon Lord Kolagon can join Kolagon's the Storm Fury. This might be a Kolagon's command matchup too. I mean, the cool thing you can do with Kolagon's command, I don't know how often you've seen this come up, but with Soulfire Grandmaster, you can actually Kolagon's command during your opponent's draw step with the buyback. So if you ever run them out of cards, you can just steal their draw phase. You lock them.
You lock them out of instants.
You lock them. The only thing they can ever do is play an instant in response to Kolagon's command during their draw step. And I mean, Edgar's pulled that off at least once this weekend.
Wow, that's sweet. Like,
I mean,
not
sort
for the
of.
opponent.
Exactly. Yes. All right, here we go, game 2.
All right, so we're underway here. We could have a champion after this game, or we could be headed to game 3 if Lucas has anything to say about it. So let's see how this game develops. Lucas Siow starts off with a Temple, puts a card on the bottom and passes a turn back. No turn 1 play here for Edgar. Just land go. And Lucas has another Scryland, and he's shipping more to the bottom here. But he does have a turn 2 play in the form of Thoughtseize, so let's take a look at what Edgar's working with here.
2 Storm Breath Dragons, the Grandmaster.
Crackling Doom, there's a Thunderbreak Regent back there.
Aha.
And could that
Is that
be
Outpost
a
Siege?
siege?
I think
yeah,
it's Outpost
I believe
Siege.
that's an Outpost Siege as well.
So he did go grindy.
Interesting, Lucas Siow does have 2 copies of Dromica's Command in his board. I don't know that he would bring them in here. Maybe.
I mean, he's seen the deck list. They are sharing deck lists, but yeah, Dromica's Command, not a great card in this matchup.
Does
Although
take
Dromica's
care of
Command,
the
one-
outpost.
Yeah, it's one of the other cards that appeared in 7 lists in this top 8. Dromica's Command, Fleece Main Lion, and Den Protector.
Yeah,
were
we've
the
seen a
7
decent
O's.
amount of Atarka's Command, but Dromica's Command's the number 1.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, the rise of
by a
it certainly
long
this
shot.
weekend with all the green-white decks doing so well. So he takes the 2-drop. No turn 2 play for you.
And no turn 2 play indeed, as Edgar just ships the turn back. Lucas Siow plays his land for the turn and just passes. Nothing from him either. And there is Thoughtseize off the top for Edgar. So let's take a look at what Edgar's working with, where he just doesn't Lucas is working with, where he just doesn't play anything here. Well, he's left up Hero's Downfall mana, but you can see he doesn't have a whole lot else going on. Elspeth for down the line, he's got another couple of lands in his hand, and that is a Dromica's Command, right? So,
Yep.
you know, Edgar, if he had some creature threats that he really wanted to protect, he could take it. But, you know, he's thinking long game. I think Edgar's looking and saying, look,
Well,
I'm missing land drops.
yeah,
I'm putting no
exactly.
pressure on you. You're going to just hit 2 more lands in a row and eventually
Nissa off the top for
get
Lucas
there.
Siow.
Ooh, that could be quite strong.
Get 1 Planeswalker Thoughtseized and top deck another one
Yeah, and one that you can cast
against a
turn
mana
sooner.
screwed opponent.
Yeah, this one could be over really quickly now.
Definitely.
Edgar's not taking any damage this turn.
He needs to draw land for Crackling Doom. Is what he needs to draw.
That would be a great start. Yeah, he
Comes to
did.
play tapped
You
land.
asked for it, Randy.
Well, hey,
You
look,
got
it's a
it.
land and it even creates red mana. Good enough.
It's true.
Beggars can't be choosers here.
Unfortunately, though, Edgar looks like he's going to find himself facing down 2 threats and a Planeswalker here and taking 8 this turn. Most likely. Yeah, 8U, and he's even got a follow-up Courser of Crewfix here, and of course hits that land immediately off the top. This could be a landslide in favor of Siow. I mean, this one, yeah, this is it. That's it. Edgar scoops him up, and Lucas gets a nice, easy win there against an opponent that couldn't find any extra colors of mana, and we're going to game 3.
We're going to game 3. One game
A
for
little
the Grand Prix
confidence
title.
booster for Lucas there. You know, he
Sure.
struggled through that first game getting dashed on a bunch by Kolagon, but now he says, all right, we're back on board.
A couple Canadians in this final, but it's also got Team Ultra Pro fingerprints all over it. Lucas actually tested with them 2 Pro Tours ago. The one where
Where they debuted.
where they debuted and put Justin Cohen into 2nd place. Yeah, Lucas tested with Team Ultra Pro there, and Team Ultra Pro, you know, co-founder Ben Stark built the Mardu Dragons deck that found its way to Edgar Magalhaes
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Roundabout.
Roundabout late Thursday night. Over to drink.
All right, so the gentlemen here are reviewing deck lists as they do their final sideboard prep here, because they know it all comes down to this one last game, and
big
whoever
game.
wins it's going to be holding the trophy, and the other one is going to have to settle for, well, a smaller trophy. Now, a lot of the weight is lifted from their shoulders after they make the top 8. You know, there's the Pro Tour
Yeah,
qualification.
the Pro Tour invite is a big deal.
That's a big one. I know a lot of the people that come out to play GPs really do think of it in terms of, I'm going to try to top 8 and get on the PT, and then
It is the
rest
most
will
straightforward way
happen.
to get on the Pro Tour these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a way a lot of the people, you know, we saw Mark Herberholtz, who couldn't quite meet his goal yet, but he's been knocking at the door, and I expect to see him in the top 8 circle here at a GP before too long. And, you know, we've seen Huey and even Paul Cheon and stuff get back on the Pro Tour primarily through success at the GP level, and then chaining that together with either other GPs or maybe a strong PT performance to finally get themselves where they want to be. Looks like some friendly chatter among the players here.
I mean, I'm sure these guys have played plenty. They're both from Toronto.
So double checking their sideboards real quick, and we were underway in just a couple of minutes. What do you like here, Randy? What do you I mean, we've seen a little bit of the sideboards, and we know the main deck's pretty well now. What are we looking at?
I mean, I think that Stormbreath Dragon is just a hard card for Lucas Siow to answer. Not impossible.
Yeah.
But Lucas is a little bit soft to Stormbreath Dragons. I also think Edgar's on the play in game 3. That does help. I mean, the first game, it didn't look like Edgar had a particularly great draw, but as we just got into turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, it was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord, what's happening here? The dragons kept coming over, Crackling Dooms. I mean, I thought that even with kind of what looked like a medium draw, Edgar kind of crushed him in game 1.
It did feel like that. One thing about Lucas's deck is that, it does play a little further towards the controlling end rather than the mid-range end, and it isn't great at just applying a lot of pressure. Edgar does get to have time to find those Stormbreath Dragons, and he's got enough removal spells so that Lucas doesn't get to just run him over with even a... I mean, we saw one of Lucas's more aggressive draws in the first game, and it didn't do much at all. Main deck removal spells from Edgar just decimated his board, and then the Dragons cleaned up the mess. I could see that happening again pretty easily, since Lucas, again, he just has a hard time closing out the game in fast order. He did that last one, thanks to Nissa.
I mean, Edgar's not great against planeswalkers, I guess. I mean, if Lucas's route to victory could be a Nissa or an Elspeth. I don't know that I would describe Edgar as soft against them.
No, I mean, he has a bunch of dragons. Those generally tend
Right.
to gobble up planeswalkers at some point.
Just saying, it seems more likely to win that way than with creatures, as Lucas Siow. Really interesting how this standard is shaping up. In that
It just keeps changing.
yeah, it's not shaping up.
Yeah.
It's almost like the last GP weekend we had Krakow going on. That format did not even seem to resemble the Star City Open format from the same weekend. There's just the top 8 seem to be telling 2 different stories of 2 different formats from 2 different points in time.
Yeah.
And here between this and GP Sao Paulo, it feels the same way.
I know.
Top 8
it's
do
funny.
not resemble
I was
each
listening
other.
to a podcast on my way over to the event site this morning, and Patrick Chapin was talking about how the format was still evolving and still changing, and kind of really giving it a lot of credit for that. And that was after the regional PTQ weekend. It's still going, It just keeps rolling right along and changing. Edgar, trying to look at our overhead camera. I don't think he realizes we've got a camera on him right now. You don't have to work that hard, Edgar. All right, the calm before the storm here. Again, Edgar on the play. Could not find his mana in game 2 and suffered greatly at the hands of Nissa Worldwaker. Won a good fair game in game 1 after Lucas got off to a decent start, but Edgar decimated his board with removal spells.
Again.
And we're at game 3 here, where Edgar's going to start off down a game and Lucas is not. So on the play, going to 6 versus Lucas Siow, who's going to keep his opening 7 here on the draw. Now going to 6 shouldn't be a huge deal here, right?
Not a huge deal.
Going to 5's troublesome.
Yeah, I mean, his deck is not super aggressive. I mean, he really needs to get to 3 mana before he can operate.
Yeah, he can play some 2-drops that he has in the deck, but they're not really going to win the game.
Right. I mean, being down a card is not a catastrophe, but the more times you mulligan, the harder it is to come up with 3 lands, right?
Right, and of course he's on the play here too. So we saw mana troubles for him in the second game. Now let's see if he can keep a 6 here and get us a nice fair fight to see who's our champion. We have not seen a land yet, and he's going to have to mulligan that. That is a straight up no-lander.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so Edgar's going to
No
5,
choice.
and this is the cross line here. If he can keep a 5, he can still have a shot at this. If you have to go down to 4, your percentages just plummet. I mean, he's already given up a lot going to 5, but when you go to 4, it's bad.
There are some pros that will tell you just never go below 5.
Yeah?
They'll just keep 0 lands at 5.
Some non-Gerard Fabiano pros?
Yeah.
I think his line is actually just don't go below 7. But you got to have faith in your deck, right? All right. So this is definitely a big hit to Edgar's chances and Lucas Siow.
I would not keep a 0 lander at 5.
No.
But I mean, there are people who would. Good people, pro tour people.
Interesting. Okay, Edgar, let's make a game out of this. Here's 3, 4, 5. 2 lands to start with, and he's going to keep this no matter what.
Yeah,
it actually has a
land and a
2-drop as
seeker.
well, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so
I was a
we're
keeper
underway.
on 2 cards.
It was.
You're definitely keeping 5 land at 5.
So Lucas is going to try to grind Edgar out of this game here. And he's left that card on top of his library. It's
Fifth
another land. Yeah, not great.
Needs to start drawing some spells now.
Now, one thing you do give up by being Mardu instead of Obzon is you don't get Obzon Charm to draw you cards, right? He does. Does Edgar have any just raw card advantage in his deck as far as like Read the Bones or anything like that?
Well, we've seen the Nomad Outposts.
We've seen what?
I mean the Outpost Siege.
Outpost Siege. So that could be something that he could hit to help him get out of this mess. And right now, Lucas Siow has played a Fleecemane Lion on turn 2.
He did draw a spell. What is? Can you tell what it is? It's on the front
I
of
think
his
it's
hand.
another Seeker.
Ah,
Could be a
it's definitely got a
Soulfire
Jeskai
Grandmaster.
watermark on it.
Yeah, it's a Soulfire Grandmaster. And then he's going to play another Temple here and put that down to the bottom. I can only assume that that's a land. And back to Lucas
Yeah, I don't think there's a
Siow.
lot of spells you would push there. You might push more of the 2-drop creatures, maybe.
And there is Courser of Crufix now for Siow. So, and a Bile Blight too. So a beautiful little curve here for Lucas, who goes turn 2, turn 3, and even has a removal spell on top of his deck. And let's see where this goes from here for Edgar. He certainly has his
Thunderbreak
hands
region.
full. Thunderbreak region off the top. Very nice draw here. It dodges the Bile Blight that he knows about. And
That's
it
a
can
good curve
fly
for
over
Edgar.
and start, drawing. Really nice. Ooh, but there's Silence of Believers.
Yeah, it's a great draw for a mulligan to 5, but Lucas seems to have a solid 7.
Right, especially if Lucas just has a removal spell here, because he'd love to save Silence of Believers to take out 2 creatures later. Edgar Magalhaes is up against it here. He has a clean attack with Thunderbreak Regions, and there it is, Hero's Downfall. And this is horrible news for Edgar, because remember, he knows already that Edgar's got Bile Blight and is drawing Silence of Believer, so he had even an extra removal spell there. And this is just not going to match up, especially with that Courser of Crufix just silently generating advantage here for Lucas. Lucas has no interest in drawing an Ugin, so he's going to immediately shuffle that away.
I'm thinking about our 1 to 8 scale. I think Lucas may be a little higher than 6.
Well, he turned the knob up on sideboarding for sure.
Moved from a 6 up to an 8.
Yeah, he's in Ugin range.
He's definitely about as control-ish as you can build obs on these days.
Yeah. By the way, I found Apex Predator for the in-between slot there on our scale.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We got it all covered.
Got it. Yeah, 1 Ugin in the board. Crux of Fate in the board. Only the 1 Wrath effect. Oh no, there's a Crux in the main. So he's 2 Wrath effects in the 75.
And this is a card that Lucas likes a lot, Read the Bones. And under
All these fancy new decks, and it's obs on mid-range that's going to win our Grand Prix?
it's shaping up that way, Randy.
Remember it was Bant Megamorph, it was Mardu Dragons for a while.
I mean, I think
it was obs on aggro.
I agreed with what you said, though. I really do think that this Mardu deck has a good matchup here and was a good choice for the tournament.
Yeah.
This unfortunate mulligan here and the mana problems in game 2 for Edgar may be his downfall. I think this is going to be close either way, but now it's, he's so far up against it after having mulligan down to 5 here. Edgar's got to fight it out, but with no real threats going on the battlefield, he's going to need to draw incredibly well to get out of this. I think Outpost Siege is a good start, or just a bunch of dragons over and over and over again. That's Kolagon's command.
Yes, it is.
And it looks like he's going to be able to get back the Thunderbreak Regent here. Not sure what other mode he named. Maybe you discard.
Yeah, it looks like discard.
So the Bile Blight goes away, the Thunderbreak Regent goes back. So he knows he has one good play this turn, regardless of top deck. And he hit, is that another Kolagon? Or Kolagon's command? It was either that or actual Kolagon, and we couldn't quite see it because he was flipping it so quickly. And there's a Siege Rhino on top for Lucas. I mean, Lucas's draw has been fantastic. He's been massaging it with Scrylands and Coursers of Crufix and some fetch, but Lucas is content to just pass the turn with his removal spells in hand.
It doesn't really matter which version of Abzan you're playing. It's got 4 Siege Rhinos in it.
Yep.
There aren't that many cards that are 4 of in all the versions.
No.
I mean, is that literally the only one? What else is a 4 of in all the Abzans?
Yeah, they don't all run Fleece Mainline.
Right. They
Yeah.
don't all run Fleece Main.
They don't all run Abzan Charm.
Right. They don't all max Hero's Downfall.
No.
They're all going to have some Hero's Downfall,
Yeah.
but not
I think Siege
necessarily the 4.
Rhino is the common denominator
They
among
don't all
of
run
those.
Courser. Yeah, no, I think it might be just Siege Rhino.
Yeah. All right, so Abzan Charm is going to take care of Thunderbreak Regent for good. It does drop Lucas down to 11, so as far as the damage race goes, Edgar is ahead, but now he needs to find dash and haste flyers over and over and over if that's going to be the way that he wins this game. And that's a tall order. Another Seeker of the Way. So he does look like he's decent on the ground here, though. Jeez, the hits just keep coming for Lucas Siow. Siege Rhino goes into his hand, and now Abzan Charm. Remember, there's that Silence of Believers as well for Lucas Siow that he's had for a while that Edgar knows about.
Say, Lucas actually kind of wanted a land. Wanted like a land followed by an Abzan Charm. That would have been the hits.
You're right.
We'll settle for casting a Rhino.
No, he's still playing the control route. Again, Lucas Siow, very disciplined player. He's going to leave up his removal spell and pass the turn. He doesn't want Edgar to hit some hasty, scary dragon and hit him with it. So Edgar draws his card for the turn, which is a Temple, which he's going to use immediately. And put a card on the bottom. So this could help him find some heat here. And Edgar goes deep into tank. Doesn't want to make a mistake here. Doesn't have a lot of options, though. He's got one card in his hand, and he's just passed the turn back. And here's Bile Blight to now take down both. That is so nasty.
He discarded one to
He
the
discarded
Kolagon's
one.
command.
And Edgar had to feel like the coast was clear there. And Edgar is going to respond, it looks like.
I mean, if you could trigger Prowess twice, you could save those Seekers.
It's Kolagon's command. It looks like he's making Lucas discard. And he's passed the turn back here. So Lucas is tightening his grasp on this game one by one. And I think that Edgar, even though he's at 17, could be close to a concession here as Lucas Siow has really pulled ahead now. He's ahead in the damage race. He's ahead on board. He's ahead on cards in hand.
Is Lucas Siow finally going to be Grand Prix champion, Lucas Siow?
I think Lucas Siow is going to break the curse here, and his friends are going to have to just stop teasing him about it forever.
First, second, fourth is pretty good.
So we're almost there, perhaps minutes away from Lucas Siow being our champion here in Toronto, as Edgar has an incredibly tall order ahead of him. He's top decking, looking for anything, and you can see the head shake there for Edgar. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating. You know, remember, Edgar had mana troubles in the second game and mulliganed to 5 in this game. You know, that doesn't feel good, right? Like, that's the kind of thing that for us in the booth and for us at home, it's pretty easy to say, oh, that happens, that's happened to me too. But, you know, this is the finals of a GP, and Edgar's got to feel like he had the right deck for the moment, and it just kind of let him down. So here's Crackling Doom, though, which is going to take care of the Siege Rhino and get a couple of damage in. And remember, the Soulfire Grandmaster is going to have that bump up Edgar's life total by 2, and then another 2 from the attack from the Grandmaster. And Lucas Siow is actually at 8.
Yeah. 1 mana short of buying back the Crackling Doom, which would have been kind of awesome.
So that's what he was shaking his head about, right?
1 more mana.
He could just start sifting through those and really just get ahead here. You know, and then maybe he's a dragon away or whatever. He's going to attack with the 2/2 lifelink creature. Is Grandmaster getting in, or has Lucas Siow seen enough of it? He's seen enough of it.
Yeah.
Hero's Downfall is going to take care of the Soulfire, and it's going to be replaced by a lowly Seeker of the Wave, probably the weakest card in the whole deck here for Edgar. At least it was a spell, but that is not going to get the job done. Lucas Siow draws Ugin, hits a land off of his Courser, and again, it just keeps advancing his board state in all directions here. His hand has more cards in it. They're at equal life totals, but Lucas is poised here to finish this thing off. He's going to attack just with Fleecemane Lion. He almost had enough for a lethal attack with the Abzan Charm in his hand, but it would have been 1 short. And wow, his draw has been so close to being just right.
Any 2 cards, lands or spells.
Yeah, but remember, Lucas still has Silence of Believers in his hand, right? This is also just not lethal.
I mean, he could attack, block, Fleecemane, and then attack. If there was no removal spell in Lucas Siow's hand, that Storm Breath could actually win this game. But there is. He's explaining how he's going to win. Abzan Charm your Seeker, Elspeth to kill your Storm Breath.
He's going to Abzan your Seeker, play Elspeth, minus it, kill both creatures. And that's the game. Lucas Siow is our champion here in Toronto. Big sigh of relief for Lucas. You can see how he had to work his way through to the finals, and he's done it. He finally gets the monkey off of his back. His friends can't tease him. He gets to be a trophy holder as well. Great tournament here.